Well, after the collapse of construction giant Probuild last month, the construction industry warned that more failures could follow as a result of companies underpricing fixed cost contracts to attract work. Well, another construction company has failed. This one, Condev Construction, run by Steve Murray and his family on the Gold Coast. The business, which had $1 billion worth of work in the pipeline, has won countless building awards from the Master Builders Association. The Murray family lawyer, Derek Cronin from Cronin Miller Lawyers, joins me now. Derek, many thanks for your time. And I know this is tough times for the family. This was a really well-considered construction company on the Gold Coast and in Queensland. So just what went wrong here?
Well, Ross, it's almost a perfect storm. There's been a combination of events. You have to remember that Condev Construction is a very well-regarded business here on the Gold Coast. There's been a combination of events which include Probuild, but nonetheless, 60 weather events within a period of 12 months, a combination of Omicron, which really hit the company in early January, and of course increased costs of supply and trades. And so it's really brought things to a head.
I was in touch with Steve Murray today. He's very emotional about this, very upset about the fact the company has gone broke. There were enormous efforts made to try and raise the capital to keep it afloat, wasn't there?
There was direct discussions with the developers with a view to trying to come to some sort of proposal which might have eased things. You should appreciate that, this is not a company that's short of cash or liquidity. It's really a situation of knowing early what those contracts meant in the longer term. So it's a relatively long crystal ball that the director has had in this particular instance. So it's with that in mind, and subcontractors have been paid, staff have been paid. So yesterday, the Murray family have had to have, some heart-to-heart with staff, and it's obviously been a very difficult day for them, both yesterday and today.
So that seems odd to me, because most companies don't get to that point where they pull the pin as early as this. But there's even expectation that the company will go into liquidation tomorrow, not even looking for a trade sale or for somebody to come and recapitalise and finish off some of these projects.
Well, the difficulty lies in that once an event like this is announced, there's real difficulty in terms of maintaining those relationships, and some of these contracts have very long build times, and they're all at varying parts of the project. Some just recent, and a lot with a lot of time to run. So it makes it very difficult from the point of view of how you manage that.
Yeah, I've been talking to construction companies around Australia, most of who say that the fixed price contracting, when construction companies actually sign up for a development, they take much of the risk if things go wrong. So staff shortages, weather events, lockdowns, the cost of building materials, all of these things, as you say, is almost a perfect storm.
Well, that's true, Ross. And also you have to remember that a lot of these contracts will have been formed either pre-COVID or pre-appreciation for what the effect has been in relation to all of these, the weather events as well as Probuild and COVID-19. So it's been very difficult for a company to appreciate precisely what the contractual terms should be in this kind of environment when you look historically at what's occurred over the years.
And so the Murray family now, I'll say there's enormous shock and upset almost inside that family that they could find themselves in this situation, given the fact there have been such prominent builders on the Gold Coast for, sort of almost 30 years in the case of Steve Murray.
They have been a model corporate citizen in the community. They are very well regarded, not only in the industry, but in the community, in the Gold Coast community as a whole. And yes, it is a big shock.
And so tell me this, the word on the street on the Gold Coast right now, given what's taken place with Probuild, which was very much around one of its developments on Queen Street in Brisbane, what's now taken place here with the Murray family and Condev, is it expected that there might be more builders, more construction companies that will be under pressure up there?
I'm not sure about that, Ross. I think that there's still a lot of confidence in the market generally. You have to remember that There's a very high demand at the moment for property on the Gold Coast. There's a lot of interstate migration. It's difficult to say that this particular example will mean that there's likely to be others to follow. I'm not really certain of that. I think that there's still a lot of confidence on the Gold Coast, and so I guess it remains to be seen, but I wouldn't be staking any claim on that at the moment.
And the Murray family itself, do you imagine that the Murray family will be able to come back, that they'll be able to launch some form of recovery?
I certainly hope that they will. I think that there's a lot of goodwill that still remains with the Murray family, and I'm very confident that they will pull through in some other means. But I mean, obviously, for the moment, it's a time of reflection, and hopefully they get to have a bit of a reprieve with all of the attention that they've had over the last week or so.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. I know it's a trying time for that family, but in the meantime, Derek Cronin from Cronin Miller Lawyers, the lawyer to the Murray family, I appreciate your time very much today.
Pleasure, Ross. Thanks.